Get insurance or go to jail. There's a new discovery in the Senate health care plan that's threatening to turn the entire debate on its face. A key Democratic staffer confirming in a handwritten note that Americans who fail to buy health insurance and can't afford the initial $1,900 penalty will then face a $25,000 fine or 1 year in prison. Democratic strategist Nancy Skinner says these harsh punishments are needed to get everyone on board. But Nancy, I mean, I'm sure had the president said early on, if you don't participate in this plan, we're going to sock you with a fine, and you don't pay that fine, you're going to go to prison. None of these people, who, by the way, mostly are young, would have elected the guy.
You know, the sky is falling, Neil. This has been so grossly exaggerated, what they're saying here. Look, there will be a law that requires people
What's
to
been
get
exaggerated, Nancy? This Democratic staffer said,
Neil,
you don't play, you pay. Tell me where I got it wrong.
No, I will tell you what you just exaggerated. You said that if you don't pay, you're going to prison. First of all, it's a law. Anytime you break a law, there is a penalty. Otherwise, it's a voluntary thing. So what's the point? And in this case, this is for people who willfully violate the law. In other words, if you can't afford health insurance, there'll be tax credits and or a hardship waiver. This is for people who choose to say, I'm going to break this law. I can afford it, and I'm not going to do it. The government, of course, has to have some penalty. It's like when you run a red light. There's a penalty for that.
Well, by the way, there is no law yet. There is no law because there is no bill. I see your point. But listen, if we're going to spend so much time potentially hitting someone with a $25,000 fine and or jail if they don't go along, would it kill us to then go to the trial lawyers and take $25,000 off whatever they're going to get winning a medical lawsuit?
Well, I don't know if you could make a tit for tat, a quid pro quo on those.
No, I'm saying we're spending a lot more time going after individuals who might not want to play along here than we are with trial lawyers who enrich themselves, definitely playing along and gunning a system that richly rewards them and not patients.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to talk about tort reform, part of the plan is let's experiment in some states, and the president and the Democratic Party has said, look, we're going to, in fact, do that. Even though studies show, GAO and other studies show, the reason medical malpractice insurance has gone up is because of insurance companies, not because of frivolous lawsuits, but so be it. Listen,
all right,
back to this
Nancy,
point.
let's say
if you can afford health insurance,
then you should, and if you don't, you should go to jail. Now, Nancy, I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this. Nancy, look at me. I'm telling you, Nancy, if you were to tell people early on in the health care debate, or while Barack Obama was campaigning for president, or these prominent Democrats are pushing health care and trying to make sure this happened, that, look, if you don't go along with our plan and you balk at paying for membership in this plan when you can well afford it, we're going to drag your ass to jail and we're going to fine you while we're at it. What do you think would be the reaction they'd get?
I'll tell you what, who says they're going to do both a fine and jail?
I'll tell you what their reaction would have been.
The maximum
You're crazy!
But
that would have been their reaction.
We're already paying $1,000. Everybody's paying a hidden tax of $1,000 right now. Do you think that everybody knew that? No.
Nancy, all I'm saying, then fine. Be honest then. Be honest then. If you were to tell me, in order to go along with this, the people who don't are going to pay a fine and or go to jail, and you just had everything out there, and that all of a sudden this promise that those $250,000 and under wouldn't see a tax hike, when in reality they technically will see a tax hike, if everything was above board and we were honest, you know what, there wouldn't have been these town hall rallies, because we would have known the lie ahead of time.
Most people, as you like to point out, Neil, have health insurance through their employers. None of this is ever going to affect them, except for they'll continue to pay $1,000 for the people that don't have health insurance.
All those people who are balking at this, or saying, you're right, some think they're indestructible, young people who won't pay to play. And they're marching off. They're marching off to Lompoc or Attica. I'm going to say Nancy says that you should have known and enjoy the bread and water.
Listen, there's a guy, a neighbor, who's an older German stubborn guy who said, I don't need health insurance. He got cancer. He's very sick. He's getting all the treatment, the best treatment money can afford. Who's paying for that? I am paying for that because it gets passed on. This is a way we're going to remedy that.
I see your point, Nancy. As I said before, it is a cookbook. Look up that Twilight Zone episode. Nancy, thank you very much. Is the tax revolt alive and well? What just happened in Oregon that could